pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was scanning beams on Friday, so I don't have first-hand information, but we're here because we ran into a snag with Sabino Road, and I guess take it away. Tell us what happened and what is the
I can start it off. Steve started working on the project. I'm Rob Crew, country engineer. Steve started working on the project last week and basically ran into some very soft clay below a layer of regular clay, if you will. Got into what's called marine blue clay, which is very unstable. And that was not expected right at that culvert location. The borings that the town had done previously on Sabino Road showed it 16 feet down. For the closest boring, we hit it at, Steve hit it at 5 feet, probably 5 feet. So what that meant is you don't have any stability, and he's trying to dig trenches for the footings. And you don't have any stability, it just kept caving and caving. Ultimately, a couple of you were there Friday, Christine and we ended up with a 25-foot unstable. Steve was worried about losing the road, so we basically stopped work at that time. We needed to notify the town, hey, we get some unexpected conditions here that are going to cost more than anticipated. Steve stopped on Friday, stabilized the road for the weekend with some timbers, and then at the meeting, on-site meeting Friday, the town organized to purchase some crushed cement aggregate that we heard about through some person that just had it at her own driveway. So the town is paying to have that filled. Steve started putting that in, compacting it. Now we have a nice stable condition. It's an over-excavated area. The idea is then to go back in and now we'll get trenched through that. And then set the footings and finish the project. So we're looking at extra time on Steve's part and then extra materials that the town has already started purchasing.
You hit ledge too, you eventually got to it, didn't you?
We went all the way down the ledge with the fabric and then we put in that crushed road. We have a nice base going now. The problem is what happened is when we hit that marine clay, it was over 4 or 5 feet deep. So all the weight of the rest of the road just kept pushing because it's underneath the whole road. So when I opened it up, I just kept squeezing it out like if you had a bag of water and you squeeze it, it just kept pushing it right over.
So I called in an engineer from SW Cole, who did the original work for the town 8 years ago, Tim Boyce, who I've worked with on several projects. And I have a good relationship with him. Called him Thursday, we were able to get him there for 8 o'clock Friday morning. So when we first looked at it, we determined there was a layer, there was ledge beneath us. So the game plan then was to just simply excavate the trench down to the ledge, fill it up, have a stable base. But nobody could anticipate that everything was going to collapse the way it did. So
That road basically was put together timbers over a peat moss. It was marine clay under it, so they basically just did that, and they got their own dirt over it. And all that just collapsed on the roads and probably got rotten.
the old culvert was a 4-foot diameter pipe. We're replacing with a 17-foot span as required for the permits now for the stream crossings, plus deeper footings, so it's a deeper excavation.
Are you finding that you can, now that you know what you're dealing with, you can gradually get into it versus having it, it's like fall like it was doing on Friday? So you can go a little slower and catch up to the collapse versus before it gets too far.
Well, there's not going any slower than one bucket at a time. I mean, the problem is what's happening is that we're working down close to 12 feet, and all the weight of the soil on top is just, if you open up the bottom of it, it's just pushing this.
But you're not gonna end up with this big a hole now, will it?
That's the idea. Originally, the trench was going to be roughly an 8-foot wide trench, vertical. We ended up with a 25-foot hole. So now it's been refilled filled with this cement, crushed gravel product that he's compacted, that it's as hard as his floor right now. So the thought is, we believe that he'll be able to then excavate more of an 8-foot trench. That'll be stable because it's so wide. and
But
soft.
if we're coming back over, it should be as challenging, because you kind of know what you're in for, so it won't get ahead of you this time.
Well, that's not a problem now. We've got systems set up, we've got trench boxes, we got plates, shape plates to put inside. So, no, we've got it figured out.
Yeah.
I was totally surprised.
Yep.
And you have 2/3, a little more than 2/3 across
On one side.
on one side. So what Steve's plan is to stabilize that trench each side before he retrenches. That way we'll have stable material to work with.
You should.
Couple of questions. Was that just like soup, Steve?
It's worse than that.
Okay. And you still think you'd be all set on the timetable to finish it?
Oh, yeah. It added another week or so of work.
What's the, not an exact, but what's the ballpark dollar number for this added cost, you know yet?
You're looking at about 40 grand.
So now we're at 300,000.
The simple reason is, you can't just go 8 feet wide.
No, you can't, no.
We gotta go 25, because you're gonna have this dirt on the outside to stabilize so it doesn't push. This is an arch culvert. Base of them are sitting down inside of some footings. So these footings can't move back toward us. We're not have to replace them. I was told some stories about it, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought by that, where the crossing of the culvert is, where we hit ledge and stuff and the boreholes, that we'd be all set. This is worse stuff.
That's up to the first part of the swamp, just beyond, yeah, just right there and right on the side. There's nothing in between.
Right.
So you were thinking, right now, you've excavated down to ledge, which is, the whole, I think it's ledge.
Oh, we know it's worse.
All right. Now, if you progress across the swamp, okay, that's gonna get deeper.
No, we're not going out across the swamp, do we?
And just put the culvert, just the culvert.
Across the swamp,
We're
we're
just
just
gonna
raising
work
the
where
road
the
bed up.
culvert's going.
So-
There's no excavation across the swamp.
I've got the borings here, and I've also, I mean, you can, I know the spot in the swamp probably as well, if not better than most people here. I've worked on it for years. I've watched it. We have taken, and I've seen that swamp build up, and it got, according to the borings here, like, we one time, we built that swamp up about 8 feet with sawdust and sidewalk. The old time, the cattle road. Okay? And over the years, it's now it's down 16 feet, because the boring shows wood fiber, spongy.
There's also 2 layers of pavement.
Oh, yeah. Probably find 3 culverts in there, too. So anyways, there's no bottom. I mean, I got a boring in, and you will say that it's 71 feet. And then you said, bottom of exploration at 71 feet, probably. You never, my father pushed down 100 feet.
So where are you going with this? Because basically where we're working at on the culvert, it's not down to 71 feet, it's down 12.
What I'm getting at, I want for the amount of $300,000, and I don't care who does it, but I want it to stay. I don't want it in 5 years or 6 years, you're right back again, because it's settled.
Well, what we're doing on the culvert, that's why we're trying to get down to the hard foundation.
The object of that culvert was, Dan put that in, with no engineering, but anyway, that culvert was put in to equalize the water. When it comes from Campbell's Pond and the big rains, they used to come in on the, well, I'm gonna call it the east side, or whatever side it is. And it would flood the road. You put a culvert in just to equalize the water, which helps. That keeps going down. Don't took the culvert up, and then, put it down. Built the house, rolled up 2 feet, hot top again, and there it goes, as time goes, and it keeps going like that. And I don't see, there's got to be something, you're the engineers, there's got to be something that you could do to that road to stabilize it, so we don't see this every 5 or 6 or 7 years. We'll put another $300,000 in it.
We've had discussions at other meetings, and it would cost millions and millions of dollars.
1 to 3 million, what are the estimates?
Yeah, to get across that swamp, doing it that way. The town opted to just raise the elevation, try to alleviate the flooding, knowing that it's going to settle.
Well, it's been a number of years since we had this last, right?
It's slowed down.
No, but it's been
Been quite a few
10
years.
years, 12 years
Yeah,
since
at
it's been a
least.
major project down there.
Yeah. So I am not going to tell you this, I'm not going to settle, because we know what we're building. And we're basically doing the same thing that's been done before. But that's a cost-effective approach, rather than spending $3 million.
Accepting, you're quite confident, not guaranteeing, but quite confident, well, the culvert being put in, that should 3.7, right?
That's correct.
And that's all, it was- the area
That's why
we're,
we're going through that ledge.
but that's the area we're working on, is where the culvert is.
That's why I brought in the geotechnical company that the town hired originally, who did the bores.
Oh,
And SW Cole.
yeah.
And that was, he used the probes, he had already done some probing, and we found ledge between 4 to 7 feet, right where he's working. Steve found more today, it raised up a little higher on the trench we're working.
But once the
So,
culvert's put
the idea
in,
of the culvert, and again, the town has a $95,000 culvert grant, which led to this project. So you have that money to go towards this project. At the same time, the town wanted to raise the elevation of the road across the swamp to try to alleviate the flood.
Yeah.
So it's a combined project. But you do have culvert grant, which the town has to put towards this project. So this extra money we're doing now is to alleviate what you're saying. If we just build this on lousy clay, that culvert will settle over time. And you're gonna have issues with that. We're trying to get that so it's on a firm foundation, raised up, concrete footings, the arch, and that'll be safe.
Where the concrete footings are, so on clay, on those clay roads?
Concrete footing will be a vertical column, if you will, from the ledge, crushed stone, concrete footing, the arch, and then the road. So they're founded directly down on, with crushed stone down to the ledge.
Yeah, and that's fine, I can see that.
What's the town gonna gain is probably 50 feet of stable road. The rest of it ain't gonna change. You're gonna have to add to it, maybe 5, 10, 20 years, whatever we've been
but
doing.
that's,
We'll spend a couple $1 million.
the amount of sinking has decreased over the last 20 years. It doesn't go down as fast.
Soils over time will consolidate slowly.
And when they laid the mats down last time, before they repaired the road, that helped a lot.
Mhm.
Keep it floating basically.
We're even going further than that, we're actually wrapping it all the way down around to the ditch line.
Yeah.
Fabrics.
And what's happening is basically when the road sinks, it's pushing up the ditches.
As the trees come in.
So it's a full-time maintenance road, it's gonna be, you know, probably for the rest of town of West Bath's life.
But you also, this spring, you cleaned out the drainage ditch.
Right.
And it hasn't flooded since then, I lived down there, and
So-
since that was clean.
It's a maintenance road, it's gonna take maintenance, I mean, that, what we did to that brook, you're probably gonna need to do that every 5, 10 years.
Or less. Or
Right.
more often.
It should be on, it should be on
You're
maintenance.
talking about the ditch on the right side, so,
Yeah, the one that goes all the way to Berry's Hill.
Yes.
yeah. Well, that, you'll have hydrate in the house, but the part from the road to the, little history. Alvin Mitchell was up the road, and we're talking years ago, I was just a kid, that's a long time ago. They took a hole and drove pipe, to put ditch line on. Couldn't do that today, you have some shade. Ditch dynamite blasted it out. Then we took a D6 boiler, Lloyd Shaw, took a D6 boiler from that house in there, it wasn't there then, and went all the way to Mount Rock, down the road. Done that, worked well for years, but,
Well,
so
John,
anyways.
there's a lot more traffic on that road than
Oh,
we
I
had when we were
agree.
kids.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I have seen, a lot of things for that road. You know, but as I said, I just, you know, I'd love to see it fixed, so we wouldn't have to do it.
Well, I want a bridge, John, but they told me I can't get one.
Well, I can't see, I don't think it'd be $2 million.
Because I just counted.
I know it's 5 years ago.
It's
more than
actually
that.
shot about 3 times per guy, and that's on
Supposed to be a mass deal,
So it actually on Route 150.
They got 3 different versions.
So is this our change order?
It's not a change order until you guys make it a change.
It's an estimate of what,
Is it MS?
Which would help the project, that's going right straight to, Auburn Concrete. One project for the other, okay?
So do you feel like if we get those torrential rains, is it enough under control, or are we looking at?
I'm sitting a lot better today than I was a couple of days ago.
It's, I drove by and stopped and looked at it, it's completely different. What we were facing on Friday, we're not facing today.
We had 400 yards delivered today from, Auburn Concrete. Very impressive, very nice people to work with. No, it's
Good
nice.
material. Very good material. I'm a little bit, I have to admit, that, you know, no effect against you guys, but I'm a little bit concerned with gold. Why they didn't buy this out? They done work.
Concerned with what?
The SW Cole, the engineering company. I mean, we wouldn't be seeing this if they,
well, in defense of them, their focus is that the port really was crossing the swamp rather than the actual culvert location. And the closest boring, I don't know how close it is, reasonably close, but it's not right at the culvert
I
cross.
don't know where they, I just got the boring, but they'll tell me where they go.
Yeah,
Where they took them.
it's on the, it's not quite to the culvert on the swamp. And borings, we try to do borings on ledge. You try to space them out every 50 feet, try to think you're gonna profile the ledge, and it's always up and down. Borings give you what's there right to that one spot, so they can change.
So where you found ledge on Friday, where you was putting it in the first base, and you found more as you're heading?
Yeah, it actually happened one on the other side of the road.
So as the culvert's going in, you're finding there's ledge and sooner for an easier foundation at this point, right?
I'm confident how we're going about it, it's gonna work nice, we won't have any problem that somebody, if that company didn't have to replace in 50 years, they're gonna have something to work with. We have nothing to work with. It was terrible. I never worked with that kind of stuff before, it just, I called them about 3 times, I was ready to fill it now, it was like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, we built 15 tracks all down there, got nowhere.
Steve put in the neighbor's driveway last year, hit ledge right there, at the bottom of that culvert. There's a bridge right between the neighbor and drive.
Sugar Hill?
Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
And if you look across the road, there's ledge, a ridge of ledge, so it's, a ridge of ledge runs across and then dives down. So we're just kind of following that out.
I didn't anticipate you probably, you know, they got borings and I put the other color in, I said, this is gonna go slick. There has been nothing slick about hold down there.
Well, it's gotten better though. You know what you're in for. It's not a surprise now.
Well, we know how to deal with it. It took a while, took 3 excavators and.
With the town buying material, that really helps us get to where we are now, in a much better place. And you buying it directly is the cheapest you're ever gonna get it, which is a very good price, by the way, for that product. Hauled down from Auburn at that $12.50 a yard.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're just gonna move forward with this and
I would,
on the same time schedule.
Yeah. Basically, it's not gonna look like a whole lot can done tomorrow. We gotta dig out, replace most of all that gravel and stuff, but we're not gonna go dive right into it, there's a tropical storms coming.
Gotta wait till the rain goes down.
So basically, we wanna keep everything we got there now secured well. You know, if they're talking 2 or 3 inches, 4 inches, you know what it does there.
And the road's passing.
oh yeah.
It's very fast.
Well, it's supposed to get an inch, I thought. 4 inches?
Yeah, I saw today, they have, on the coast is saying much less.
Yeah.
But-
Probably gonna get an inch.
I mean, It's all about the track, as we all know.
Funny is
They're
this,
saying more in the mountains and inland than on the coast.
Yeah.
I think in 2 days to take, they put footings in and run it across this hill, and that'll be probably 2 weeks. So it's pretty good.
So we plan on paying for this, this current year budget or the next town meeting's budget?
Well, it would be in this budget for the current year, 2021.
What will be included in the town meeting budget
Yes,
as an extra? Or combined with the already,
if the selectmen wanted to show it as
no, I mean,
additional item, then it would be.
what I mean,
Otherwise, it would be part of the road budget.
if Steve's budget is 300,000 in the current request, is he gonna stay at 300,000? It's gonna go to 340?
I think we've discussed that yet. We haven't gotten that far. And what's the harm in just leaving it at 300,000, and if we have an emergent need, we add to it?
yeah, you go. I mean, go ahead, how many times can I add to it?
No, the road, this whole town budget road, not just Sabino. Was that your question, David?
Well, the question is, do we want to add 40,000 to the Steve's request or not?
Right, so basically what you're saying is if the original request was 300, then do we make this year's request 340?
Based on what Steve has planned out for the town roads.
Well, so we have a budget meeting on Thursday, perhaps we talk about it and see how it looks. I mean, it's,
We're on a very minimal budget for next year, we probably should be trying to get it out of this budget this year. Unless we ain't set the budget for next year.
Well,
The last I know, budget something,
We're already into,
Oh,
we're already into
is-
next year.
no, I mean, right now, if we have a town meeting September 3rd, I assume the road budget will be based on the one you presented in March, April. Your request at that point in time, if I'm not mistaken, that's what's going in the, as an article?
That depends on
Well-
how the selectmen want to present it.
So what I'm saying, Steve, is if your budget in the past was April, was 300,000, is that budget now article changed to 340,000 to take care of this cost? Or are they gonna take it out of your 300,000, so you have 260,000 to work with, and not 300,000?
I see what you're saying.
So I would just want that to be thought of before we decide.
but we're meeting Thursday on that.
I know, but I just bring it
No, I
up
hear you.
now, so
Yeah.
it's out there, which we're gonna go.
Right, decide it tonight.
And we should have a little bit of contingency money left over too, to help all of that.
Yeah, I think it's, right, still be an item for discussion. I think that makes sense, because I'm currently writing the warrant,
Yep.
so it would be helpful to know what number you want to plug in.
It seems to me that if we don't add this to the budget now, then we're severely handicapping road maintenance, which we've already had. Steve's working with one hand tied behind his back already. So it would seem to me that it would be a good idea to add this to the regular, to the standard appropriation.
Well,
So,
and go in there as own article, so
right,
I'm not sure how you factored it in, but your $95,000 grant from the state has to be applied for by October 1st. Christine has to do a reimbursement. So you'll be getting that this fall. I don't know where that goes, if it goes back to a surplus, or how you come to that. But you will have a check from the state for $95,000.
So one final question, before we meet on the budget on the 13th, will you be able to give us a better breakdown of how the roads stand money-wise right now?
I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
We did have
Make sure
Boulder
it's-
Road paved and Crooker did that whole road for 26,000.
just to make sure we're still on track.
And we had 40 budgeted for that, so we really.
Just to make sure we're on track with the plan presented in April.
Can I clarify when, what it is?
13th.
Can we go back to the slide
Regular
for a
selectmen's
second?
meeting this week. And then the following week is when the budget committee is meeting. And then on the 20th will be something after salary reviews.
I'll have to come in and see that with you.
Yeah.
Right now, off the top of my head, it's.
Yeah, right.
Can I ask you, with this additional money that you're gonna raise for the swamp, which is fine, okay? I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna increase any more. We're not gonna say, well, we're 3 feet deeper on the other side, we're out here. So we're gonna look at.
We already probed it, we're all set.
But you're all set.
Yeah, we probed it, SW codes came down, he probed it. That's how we come up, that's how we come up with 1,000 yards to do what we need to do.
So I'm on with that.
But if something happens, we gotta deal with it.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, any construction project, we always recommend a 10% contingency, just to have, because I haven't seen many projects go where something doesn't pop. We always recommend, try to have 10% sitting there if needed. And if you don't need it, you use it for something else. When you go into construction, so you can start digging, sometimes knows.
How much gravel have you had delivered so far, ballpark?
I think we
Percentage.
did 400 yards today,
And you're expecting another 6?
25 yards.
So if we include this as part of the warrant, what is your opinion? Do we get a separate motion tonight? Or,
I would prefer you think on it and vote Thursday.
yeah.
Are you coming Thursday, Steve?
What's that?
Coming this Thursday?
Plan on that, okay?
Would you kind of,
Just in case you have questions.
that would be,
What time?
5:30.
Yeah.
5:30, maybe later, if you
Yeah, we can put you later on the beginning, of course, better for you.
I don't put me any later, I'm still going to be working.
Right, right. Would like 6 o'clock be better for you?
6:30.
I know you probably prefer 8, but we don't want to stay here that way.
6?
Yeah.
Half hour?
Okay, so we'll put you on the agenda for 6. And if we have to finish up early, we'll wait for you. Okey dokey. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate it, Rob. There's always something, right?
Yes, there is.
That should be the motto of any construction firm.
Very
There's always
good.
something.
happens often.
And if you're able to estimate engineering costs to the end of the project.
The SW Cole visit and memo, we have approximately 3,000 over schools.
Okay.
We probably have 3 ourselves to finish in the DEP reports and monitoring.
Did you have that to us by Thursday?
Yeah, what do you just need a letter?
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
I'll just add it to the budget, Rob.
Okay. You can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. That'll be helpful. Okay, does anybody have any more questions, comments? Then I think we could stand adjourned if somebody would like that. Make a motion
Do we need to sign it?
These are recorded. Make a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor?
Thank you.
So Christine, yeah, how come our meeting when I was gone? Right.
Regular selection. Budget.
Actually, the chairs out, we're having a selectmen's meeting Thursday.